I'm Sam, and this is Samazing Travels. Hey guys, on today's itinerary, the Ring of Kerry, which is arguably one of the best road trips you can take in Europe. Seriously, I've been on many, and this is my favorite to date. Today, I'm going to talk about the most notable stops on the Ring of Kerry, and in my guide, it's also going to include the Skellig Ring, which is not officially part of the Ring of Kerry, but a smaller ring, which you can see here in blue, that you're going to pass along the way anyway, and one that should not by any means be skipped. The Ring of Kerry officially begins and ends in the town of Killarney. You can start anywhere, because it's a circle, obviously, but I recommend you start in Killarney for the sake of ease. The drive is just 111 miles long, and the Skellig Ring tacks on an additional 20 miles, which means technically you could complete the drive in just a few hours, but don't. Take the time to get off, look at the beautiful scenery, and do some hikes. The perfect timeline is 3 days. Some roads are scary narrow, and it's surely gonna rain on and off at some point, but it's totally worth it. So what are we gonna see in the Ring of Kerry and the Skellig Rings? Let's go. You will start your trip in Killarney, a lively town about a 3.5 to 4 hour drive from Dublin. Get there the day before you kick off your road trip. By the way, don't be afraid to stay in a hotel that is not in the city center. Many hotels are an easy 10 to 15 minute walk down the road and have more economical rates. So road trip day 1, maximize your time and get up early and hit the road. Pro tip, you're gonna wanna drive in a clockwise direction on the ring because tour buses go anti-clockwise and you really don't wanna get stuck behind them. Your very first stop is going to be Torc Waterfall in Killarney National Park. Drive to the parking lot and walk up the trail. You'll pass a forest of gorgeous emerald green trees before reaching the rushing water. It's exhilarating. If you want a good viewing point of the lakes in the national park, climb the steps directly to the left of the waterfall. Voila! There's much more to see in Killarney National Park, but we'll leave that to a little later in the trip. Next, you're gonna drive to Ladies' View. The name stems from the admiration of the view given by Queen Victoria's ladies-in-waiting during her visit to Ireland in 1861. The scenery here will be a different color depending on the time of year you visit, but the lakes of Killarney and the valley will be ever present. Just a few miles down the road, you'll stop at Mall's Gap. This viewpoint is a mountain pass with views of McGillicuddy's Reeks Mountains, Ireland's highest mountain range, soaring over 3,000 feet in height. Next, you'll drive to a town called Kenmare. This town is so adorable, it hurts. There are plenty of shops, restaurants, and pubs to discover, so definitely take a stroll around town. While you're there, visit the Kenmare Stone Circle. It's estimated to be from the Bronze Age, anywhere from 2,200 to 500 BC. Insane. Here, you'll also find hawthorn trees or fairy trees, which the Celts consider sacred, a symbol of love and protection. Feel free to write down your wish and tie it onto the tree. Before leaving town, make sure you check out Cromwell's Bridge. Local lore believes Augustinian monks built it in the 11th century, and due to its shape, the name is thought to come from the Irish word Cromwell, meaning mustache. From there, hit the road for about an hour and arrive at Derrynane Beach. I'm a sucker for beaches, so if it were up to me, I would stop at every beach along the ring. But this one is particularly notable. After you pass the green gardens of the historic Derrynane House, you'll arrive at Derrynane Beach. It offers a sandy beach and beautiful waters. If you're doing this road trip in the summer, go for a swim. My latest trip was in the fall and it was still worth dipping my toes. I'm not gonna lie to you, the water was freezing. Anyway, it's best to explore Derrynane Beach when the water is at low tide. That way, it recedes far enough to give you access to Derrynane Abbey, by far one of my favorite spots on this entire road trip. Believed to be built in the 6th century, it's mostly a ruin, but walking along the edge of the abbey, you have the most spectacular view of the ocean. The graveyard surrounding it just feels mystical. Do a little exploring when the water is low enough so you can find countryside views on your way back from the abbey. From there, head towards the Lower Stone Fort. When you see a sign for it, it's gonna take you off the ring and on this narrow road. Trust it. You'll pass beautiful countryside farms before reaching the fort, which was originally constructed in the 800s. It has a great view of surrounding hills and the ocean. Plus, you can climb on it. At least there aren't any signs telling you you can't. Do it. Your last stop on day one is Waterville. Be sure to take a stroll and possibly walk the town's heritage trail. It's a cute way to get to know it. If you time it just right, catching the sunset in Waterville is the perfect way to end your day. You'll find a number of places in Waterville where you can stay the night. Remember to rest up and wake up early for day 2, when we are gonna hop off the Ring of Kerry and onto the Skellig Ring, where your first stop will be Skellig's castle. It was constructed in the 16th century to protect Skellig's Bay from pirates. You will have to leave your car in the parking lot and take a scenic walk along the water to reach it. Once you're there, make sure you walk through the castle. The outlook from the front is windy, but absolutely awesome. Next up, head to the Kerry Cliffs. Locals say these are absolutely spectacular, cannot be missed. However, they are on private land and are only accessible in season for a fee. I got unlucky and fell a few days short, so make sure to check their website and don't miss out on these incredible views. See, I mess up so you don't have to. Next, you're gonna drive towards the town of Portmagee, where, spoiler alert, you will spend the night, but much to do before that. We're at the point in your trip where you will have to decide if you're gonna visit the Skellig Islands. They are a UNESCO World Heritage Site. What else are they? Well, some of you may recognize them after they shot to fame from being featured in Star Wars Episode 7. The Skellig Islands are islands that jut out from the Atlantic. The larger one, Skellig Michael, is 750 feet tall and can be visited on something called a landing tour. The smaller one is uninhabited and not accessible to the public, but they can both be seen from a boat tour. Most of these tours leave from Portmagee, while one leaves from Darien Harbor. If you're interested in visiting the Skellig Islands, you'll have to book tickets way in advance, like months before you step foot in Ireland, because these tours fill up fast, because they're worth it. If you do decide to see the Skellig Islands, you may have to skip some other sites on this guide due to time, or you're really quick, or you can extend your trip. Now, you can see the Skellig Islands from afar, either at the Kerry Cliffs I just mentioned, or at our very next stop, Braehead. From Portmagee, cross the bridge to Valencia Island and park your car at the foot of the Braehead Trail. This easy tower walk slopes upward and every step is magical. Once you get up there, prepare to feel like you are on top of the world. Out in the distance, you'll see the Skellig Islands. All around and beneath you, spectacular cliffs, and if you look back towards where you hiked, the beauty of the valley with the water flowing through it. The weather can go from sunny to pouring rain to sunny again, like it did on my short hike. The signal tower at Braehead sheltered us from the rain, and then it was there I saw the most amazing rainbow of my life.
Oh my God.
Seeing a double rainbow standing at the edge of a cliff overlooking the ocean, it doesn't get much better than that. Next, you're gonna walk the same way you came, head into your car, and go to your next stop, Ungiocan Mountain. The view here is breathtaking. It overlooks the Skellig Islands, Dingle Peninsula, 3 of Ireland's tallest mountains, and more. I mean, it's a must-see. The entrance fee is well worth it. Continuing on Valencia Island, one of the coolest things, and definitely the oldest thing I have ever seen, are the tetrapod footprints. The animal tracks were created 385 million years ago. You heard that right. The tetrapod trackway is some of the oldest evidence in the world of the first water-dwelling creatures who crawled out of the water and made the step towards land dwelling. Evolution in front of your eyes. Wild. After you wrap your mind around that, go see the Valencia Island Lighthouse. It has been in operation since 1841 and used to be manned by a single keeper until its automation in 1947. The interactive museum is worth checking out. My favorite part was you could learn and practice Morse code on an old telegraph. I was no good, but that's besides the point. From there, you're a stone's throw away from Knightstown, which is Valencia Island's largest town. Fun fact is that the village served as the base of operations for the laying of the very first successful transatlantic telegraph cable to Heart's Content, Canada. Your final stop for the day is Portmagee. This fishing village is super cute. It has an obvious main street that runs along the marina where you will find a handful of pubs and restaurants. I recommend the moorings, not an ad, the food was just delicious and the seafood was so fresh. There are several accommodations in Portmagee to rest up for the final leg of your road trip. Day 3. You'll kick it off by going to 2 stone forts, which are very close to one another. I recommend going first to the Lia Cannibally Stone Fort. Built in the 9th century as a defended farmstead, the site was excavated in 1939 to 1940. It is well preserved and has an incredible view of the surrounding area. Then make your way to Cahergal Stone Fort. This one's even older, built around 600 AD. It has undergone some reconstruction, but it is extremely impressive. The stone walls tower over you at about 20 feet high. You should definitely climb up to the top where you can really get a feel for how thick the walls are. It's one of the best examples of early medieval stone forts on the Ring of Kerry. Next stop is the town of Killarney. I love saying that name, it's just fun. Killarney. It's perhaps most famous for the Puck Fair Festival, which is held August 10th through 12th every year. It's one of the oldest festivals in Ireland. Definitely worth a stroll. After that, you'll head back to Killarney, where we first started our journey. On day 3, you're going to take more time to explore Killarney National Park. This place has many biking, walking, and hiking trails. The scenery is splendid and you can really spend the whole day there, or more if you opt for a challenging hike. I recommend renting a bike to be able to see a lot of the park, but if that's not in the cards, just a walk around to appreciate the landscape. There are some sites inside you can't miss, the first being Ross Castle. Recently restored to its original state, this 15th century castle is worth the €5 it costs for the guided tour. Warning, it can be very busy in the summer months, so if you're tight on time, you may need to just enjoy the exterior, which is at the edge of a scenic lake, so not a total loss. Next, head to Muckross Abbey. This place is so cool. Founded in 1488, you can explore many levels and passages of the abbey. I was shocked to find the structure very much intact and loved that I could wander wherever. Not to mention the greenery around the abbey is glorious. Muckross House is also worth a peek. It sits among a working farm and is surrounded by beautiful landscape. Once you've walked yourself to exhaustion in Killarney National Park, it's time to hit the town, Killarney itself. Take a walk down Main Street, choose a pub, and have a pint and a meal. You earned it. Something must be said. The points of interest I mentioned in this guide are epic. But driving the Ring of Kerry and Skellig Ring, you are for sure going to come across viewpoints, quaint towns, churches, and 1,000 other things you may want to get off and see. Do it. Go with your gut. This drive offers so much, which is why I recommend taking your time. Things to note: summer hours in Ireland are long, which is the best way to make your time useful driving the Ring of Kerry and Skellig Rings. That being said, it's also the busiest time of year for travelers, so the sites and the roads can get busy, which is why I recommend going in spring or early fall when everything is still open, the weather's still okay, but you're avoiding the crowds. You'll have less hours of daylight, but if you use my 3-day guide, you'll have plenty of time to see it all. Oh, and remember, drive on the left-hand side of the road. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. There will be helpful links in the description to guide you along your Ring of Kerry journey. Feel free to post any questions or thoughts in the comments section below, and be sure to check out my other travel guides or my travel adventures. Now, get out of here and go explore.